All right. Well, I think we're ready to get started for tonight. So, welcome to ACIM Talks with Reverend Jim and an illustrious group of discussion mates. And we're here to talk about A Course in Miracles in a relaxed and congenial environment, and also in a kind of unique and unorthodox way. It is kind of a discussion for experienced Course in Miracles students. And we been doing a course for a while, so it gives us a basis to get together and have a lot of fun. So we're ready to get into it again tonight, and following our agenda, why don't we start things out with some music? And I think that may put us in a proper mode here for our discussion. So let me just be patient and get things set up for that.
Don't you fret, keep on moving, boy, do your best. Don't you worry, God never failed me yet. Through the storm, through the rain, through my good time, Lord, through my pain, He said, don't you worry, God never failed me yet. Sometimes up, sometimes down, feel like laying my burden down. He said, don't you worry, no, God's never failed me yet. Don't you worry, don't you fret, keep on moving, boy, do your best. Don't you worry, no, God never failed me yet. Through the storm, through the rain, through my heartache, Lord, through my pain, He said, boy, don't worry, no, God never failed me yet. Sometimes up, sometimes down, feel like laying my burden down. He said, boy, don't worry, no, God has never failed me yet. God has never me up this morning, ever me. God has never
So, did you like that music? Did
Yes,
you
yeah.
hear any words to it? Did you understand any of the words?
I'm afraid I didn't with my hearing deficit, but I liked it.
Yeah, the name of the song is God Has Never Failed Me Yet.
Mm-hmm.
Did any of you hear that in the lyrics? God has never, and so you kind of heard, um, the reason what I'm trying to do, remember in the course that where we read last week, it said that this is but one version of the universal course. You remember?
Yes.
And we were talking about insights as you started to see this course or elements of it or teachings of it in various spheres that you didn't think about before. Like in the secular world, we talked about entertainers and musicians and performers and actors and movie makers, people of the genre that make Star Wars, that make Avatar. Oh, it said James Cameron, people of that nature. You'll find they have a very spiritual nature. They're incredibly creative and they're able to produce volumes at scale that one person shouldn't be able to. Oh, they must be superhuman, right? But to me, what many of them are working off of, if you read their biographies, not all of them, but if I got 10 of them together, there'd be 6 or 7 of them that would believe they work off a supernatural creative power, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, do you see another? For example, I'm Black, I come from a Black church. This is what we would call praise and worship. And you might not be familiar with it because when have you had time to learn about praise and worship in the Black church?
Mm-hmm.
But if we could stand back far enough, do you see this curriculum being played out in a much larger sphere than the spiritual, quote unquote, or rather the religious, quote unquote, realm, you see?
Mm-hmm.
So that's the point, is to show you the call is going on everywhere, but realization is merely the opening of eyes and the opening of ears to hear and see what was always there. How am I doing?
Yeah, good point.
Comment?
And good point. And I'm thinking along the same lines that the more we become aware of the teachings, the more we become aware of it everywhere. It's like what we're attracted to, and we're just we just see it everywhere. If that's what we're resonating
the more
with.
you see it, it becomes confirming of its reality. It's not just words in a book. It's like, oh my God, it's true. And there's a certain power and confidence that you start to get when you start to actually see this is true. And if this is true and the role that you play in it, again, Sadhguru says, I'm not trying to teach you to be superhuman. I'm trying to teach you that being human is super.
That's nice.
Because you are a divine being. You're a crown on evolution. It's an intelligent being in mass, in form, in action, in activity, not just in potential, but actualized. And so, to me, again, going back to practical spirituality, I'm saying we got a good thing here. We need to be more vocal in sharing it, but not in this splintered way that separation and religion is taught, but just simply saying love works. Try it. Okay, speech over. Boy, am I fired up here tonight. I apologize.
It's great. I like the try it
that's
to
fine.
like it.
Let's get back into the preface to A Course in Miracles. We're on page 10, and what it says, and I'm the first reader, if that's okay. Then I have Joan, Dee, and Kathleen. Does that work for you?
Sure.
Okay. All right. What it says, nothing real can be threatened. Nothing unreal exists. Herein lies the peace of God. This is how A Course in Miracles begins. It makes a fundamental distinction between the real and the unreal, between knowledge and perception. Knowledge is truth under one law, the law of love or God. Truth is unalterable, eternal, and unambiguous. Truth can be unrecognized, but truth cannot be changed. Truth applies to everything that God created, and only what He created is real. Truth is beyond learning because truth is beyond time and process. It has no opposite, no beginning, and no end. It merely is. Wow. Comments?
I think that's put so simply.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like I love this section. It's totally clearly understandable.
Yeah.
It's not hard.
Right.
No, it's very, and I think it's a very powerful statement. It, besides being very succinct of what it's saying is it is what it is, and which gives the statement power, because it's not power in the overpowering sense, but power in the sense that it's true. That it's no matter how you go about it, true is true and true, you know?
You remember when we were in the book study, the excerpt from Earth School where I talked about truth?
Mm-hmm.
And it said, there's nothing like the truth. There's nothing that can assail the truth. It wins every battle. It has no adversaries. And yet it doesn't have to do anything. It just has to be what it is.
So with it having no opposites, which is part of the understanding of what truth is, love is with a capital L, is there anything in the realm of physicality that is truth?
Ultimately, no.
No.
Yeah.
But it makes a beautiful playground.
Mm-hmm.
You have truth here. We're back to, first of all, if something has no opposite, would you call it pure?
Yeah.
Do you see how I'm encumbered in talking with you because the way I communicate is through words, and words separate. So there are a lot of different forms of the same thing
Mm-hmm.
because words divide them up, right? Now, having said that, Dee, do you even remember your question?
I do.
Please help me out because I was headed there and I forgot.
Well, truth, one of the ways of knowing truth is that one of the truths about truth is it has no opposites. So I was
Then I said that it's pure, right?
right.
Could something be pure if it had something else?
No, but
No.
what my real question was, can we even know it in the physical realm since
No.
that doesn't exist?
No.
Yes, if you understand that you're here in an experience, but you're not really here. It's like a dreamer who knows they're dreaming.
And I think it's also knowing that all of this in this physical world is not eternal, and that when you leave for me, the way I conceive it is, when I leave this world, but the truth never leaves.
Yeah, you never left this world because you
Right.
were never really here, but you were making stuff. Listen, there's nothing wrong with the world unless you think you're in it. Now it's a detriment to you. Now you become limited.
Well, there's nothing wrong with the world except that it's make believe. It's
Yeah.
not.
Yeah.
The game of life is what you might call it. It's a game.
Mm-hmm.
And as long as you can keep that in mind, but the other thing is, how do you play the game now?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
go ahead and embrace it, have fun. How do you have fun?
Well, I would think the closest thing that could come to it is being in a happy dream.
Duh, right? And since you're making up the dream, why would you make up? But if you didn't know you were making the dream, if you thought you were at the effect of the dream instead of the cause, you would have a lot fewer management tools because you're a victim of the world you see instead of a creator.
Right. And as a victim, I
Right.
can't be a happy camper.
Right.
if you knew your power and you knew one choice brought happiness and one brought fear, which one would you choose if you knew you are doing the choosing? Who in their right mind would choose conflict, death, fear, and hate if they knew it was a choice? But you gotta go 30,000 feet to see it. You can't see the forest if you're a tree,
Mhm.
but if you can rise above the trees, rise above the battlefield, the view's a lot different from up there.
Yeah.
I think that's what the course is teaching. It's trying to open eyes and open ears to a different perception,
Yeah.
still a perception,
Right.
still a dream, still an illusion, but a much more useful and happy dream.
It's where you choose to place your essence. Your essence is always your essence, but it's where you choose to live it.
All right, so back to the book. You remember we talked about free will. It is a very, very exclusive and loving ingredient, because if I give you free will, what can I make you do? Do you see how that's an ultimate gift?
Mm.
Is to endow your creatures to do it because they want to do it? Is that loving, or
Yeah.
what would you say?
Yeah.
So do you see how transformative this has been for me? Hasn't it been that way for you?
Yes.
Mhm.
Anybody want to talk about it? Since it's talks. The vibrancy of this process is on the application side. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Well, the course has helped me in many instances to see things differently. It really stresses that. It
You
helps
like it?
me to see the Christ in other people, especially when I feel they're being difficult. I can step back and
Yeah,
not judge them.
yeah, yeah.
And I agree it's in the application. And before I could apply something, I kind of need to understand, no, I need to see what my choices are. So I think this comes first before the application.
Why must this come first?
Because I need to see what I'm choosing between. I need to see
Okay.
what the difference is.
Well, let's go put it on a principle we just talked about. This must come first because of free will. You have to understand something before you can accept it.
Yeah.
Mhm. Mhm.
Otherwise, you're not free will.
Okay.
You
I
see
see where
how
you're
it
connecting.
has to be in the process itself, or else it invalidates love.
Okay. Yeah, I see that.
Everything love does, even correction, must be what?
Free will.
Mhm.
No,
Oh,
must be loving.
Oh, okay.
You follow?
Yeah, I do.
Everybody? Everything that love does must be loving. It's bound by what it is. Its integrity, its purity comes from what it is. It can't be something else, even for somebody else's good. So I have to help you in loving ways. Attack in any form is never justified. So how could it be that I could attack what you want right now and have that be justified?
Mm.
It's powerful to be one thing, isn't it?
Mm.
Have you thought about these things before? Heck, we're still in the first paragraph, but your assessment of what's been said, and one final look at anything else that jumps out in that paragraph. It says that knowledge is truth under one law, the law of love or God. But the next sentence, truth is unalterable, eternal. What about unambiguous? What does he mean, unambiguous?
There's no gray line. It's absolute.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, what comes to mind is what it is what it is. It's not, there's no, you start to change it, it no longer is what it is. So it's that, and that's part of that becomes part of the dream. It's like, what, it's like, it's almost something that you innately know that is real. You innately know what it is, and nothing can change that. That's a part that's within me that nothing or no one can change it. I may go out of bound by it, but it's something that's so innately within my being that that's all I can say. You may get, I may have days where I'm so far away from that, but that doesn't change what it is. It just changes where my perception and my perspective is.
Yeah, it's the one that watches you watch. It's the one that sees you respond when you start getting a cold or the flu. It's the one that watches what happened after the cancer diagnosis. It's the one that watched that process and was seeing how it affected you. It'll probably be the one that watches you die, quote unquote. How old is it? How long has it been with you unrealized until you got to be old people like us?
Mm-hmm.
But it was always there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now that you look back on it, right?
Mm.
And so now what we're recognizing is to realize it going forward. Now that we know it's real, we accept that it's real. Now, what do we do with it going forward? And so, like Reverend Cindy says, at Unity, we are twofold beings. We have a human side and a spiritual side. So what do you do with that? Well, you choose one and let it manage the other one.
Mm-hmm.
When all I thought was that I was human, I didn't know I had another manager, a better one. Isn't that what religion kind of gets us into? Trusting in the invisible and all kind of stuff like that. You ready to read a bit more?
Mhm.
Sure.
All right. Who's number 2? Joan? We're paragraph 2 there, I guess.
Okay. The world of perception, on the other hand, is the world of time, of change, of beginnings and endings. It is based on interpretation, not on facts. It is the world of birth and death, founded on the belief in scarcity, loss, separation, and death. It's learned rather than given, selective in its perceptual emphasis, unstable in its functioning, and inaccurate in its interpretations.
Any comments, ladies?
Yeah, the fact that it is learned, that perception is learned, is makes me stop and think, and it also makes very clear from the intro that we can't learn truth. It's just recognizable, and we can know it. But that the fact that perception is learned is really saying that knowledge is not, truth is not.
So if you want to know knowledge, what direction should you go? Should you go toward learning or unlearning?
Unlearning and mislearning.
Yeah, since it was taught, you have to unteach it.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. That's what I've been saying in whatever OA groups or whatever. I always stress to people, we don't realize it, but if we can think it and create it, then we can unthink it. We can change it. If we can think it, then we can unthink it. And if we can think it and unthink it, then it's not real.
So who manages your thoughts? You do.
My higher inner self.
I'm not at the mercy of my thoughts. I can choose which ones I want to focus on and which ones I want to release or let go. They're not meaningful to me now. I'm not meant to hold on to every thought that comes. Do you know how worrisome that is? How much energy it takes? Be the master. It's a course in mind training, right?
Mhm.
It can't just, I mean, it'll work all over the place, but it'll work much better if you manage it. It is a free will gift. It is the most powerful gift there is, the gift of thought, because we are we are the culmination of all of God's thoughts and free to have our own. It can get to be a big mess if you don't have wisdom. I mean, is that from church or common sense?
Yeah, it just pulls together to me, like I said, the intro, where it says the course does not aim at teaching the meaning of love, but that is beyond what can be taught. That can't be. It just pulls it together for me.
But yeah. I will use what you've been taught to unteach it.
Right.
Is that a miraculous or what?
Yeah.
Do you see how loving and kind and gentle it's going to be itself and show you the power of love, not the power of attack, which would make love a hypocrite. Honest, true to itself, integrity. And that's what
My thought is whoever thought this up is absolutely positively brilliant. If you put it in perspective,
Okay, now we're talking
in your humanness, that whoever thought it up was the absolute most brilliant essence or source or being, whatever you want to call it. That's
right.
brilliant.
The more you start to see how this is being done, the more you're starting to see what an extraordinary being it would take to carry it out. Now, is that God size? Is that bigger than your church chapel?
Yeah.
Does that sound like God? To me, stuff on this level gives me confidence because, like you, Kathleen, I'm going, wow. But I didn't see it until my eyes were open.
Yeah.
It's all around us.
And you know how I know I'm waking up to who I truly am, because when you read when the paragraph the last paragraph was read, I could feel my whole essence rise above of what was being said. There's a part of me that that just goes, oh, it's hard to explain, but I just rise up into who I truly am when something like that is read. It comes over my whole body.
Why is it hard to explain?
Well, because
it's ineffable.
Yeah, there
are no words for this stuff.
Yeah, it's like you can only experience it.
So do you see the words leaping off the page? Joan, you good?
Mhm.
Okay. Next reader.
From knowledge and perception, respectively, two distinct thought systems arise, which are opposite in every respect. In the realm of knowledge, no thoughts exist apart from God, because God and his creation share one will. The world of perception, however, is made by the belief in opposites and separate wills, in perpetual conflict with each other and with God. What perception sees and hears appears to be real because it permits into awareness only what conforms to the wishes of the perceiver. This leads to a world of illusions, a world which needs constant defense precisely because it is not real.
So for me, the world of perception, however, is made by the belief in opposites and separate wills and perpetual conflict. God's kids and the tiny mad idea of separate heavens. It's not a crime, it's just it don't work. Don't you see it doesn't work? I mean, the evidence is right in front of you, Dee.
I like the last sentence. Because it reminds me of our earlier discussion tonight. What perception sees and hears appears to be real because it permits into awareness only what conforms to the wishes of the perceiver. I guess that's the second to last sentence. And we were discussing how once we're aware of spiritual reality, we do see it everywhere.
What is the nature of the one who watches you watch? Let's drill a little deeper.
The observer?
Yeah, y'all know, like when you go in the bathroom in the morning and you look in the mirror and you see yourself, right? Yet there's something that's seeing you see yourself, right?
Right.
That's what D is calling the observer. It's never aged. It's always been there. You with me? We talked about it because I want to go a little further now.
Yeah. Well,
What is the nature of the observer?
love. Love.
Your choice. Your choice. To put labels on it, it's the ego or the Holy Spirit that's
Yeah.
watching you watch in the mirror.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be nice if it was just one thing, but it's split through the tiny mad idea. The observer makes choices based on what?
What we chose.
There's that free will again.
Yeah.
So whatever the heck it is, and whatever its choices are, do you see how powerful it is?
So the observer is the same as the decision maker?
Yes, and it can be the decisions based on the advice of the Holy Spirit, or decisions based on not the advice of the Holy Spirit. We call that illusion the ego. The
And
ego
all this
is a
happens.
thought system. Does a decision maker decide based on the God's thought system or the one that's against God's thought system? The thought
No,
system against God's system, we give it a name, a personification called ego. That's how I'm seeing it. Go ahead. Somebody was gonna say something.
yeah, I was just saying it all happened so fast. It's almost like we're not even aware of that a decision has been made.
Well, okay, once we get past the awe of that, does it attest to how incredibly powerful we are? It goes by so fast, and there's so many of them, and we process them, and they just become a normal current of incredible possibilities just going by in routine. Do you see what an incredible species humans are?
So you're saying the observer is the one who looks and then makes the decision according to what direction you're going to go in, and it's my choice. And
Well,
I
I think
It's
the
based
observer,
on an interpretation that's said in the paragraph. D, I'm sorry, go ahead.
yeah, I don't think the observer makes the decision. I think the decision has been made already, and it just goes along with.
Well, I won't quibble about the technique. I'll go along with that. All I'm suggesting is that we check out chapter 31 in the text, and it's that last decision making is what it's about. The point I'm making is there is an entity, according to the course,
Okay.
that makes a decision about things. If you drill down to on what basis did it make its decision, on what's rationale, it says that you can make it based on God's view or what you've been taught.
Oh,
World, what the world of perception is learned. So, do you base it on a victim mentality or who or what I truly am? And let that guide your actions. But all I'm saying is, what do you base your decisions on? Dee, let's go back to you real quick. See, does that fit into the correction that you offered? All I'm saying is,
Yeah.
on what basis do you create your karma or action or decisions? Based on what?
Well, what I was saying, the little tweak that works for me,
Yeah.
what I was saying was that tweak has to do with that's what we believe. We see what we believe. We're only seeing it because that's our belief to begin with.
But why? Why is that your belief? Based on how did you come to that belief? Do you see where how deep I'm trying to go here?
Right.
And the course says there are only two choices. You're either going to listen to the voice for God or the voice for the ego. You say, well, can't I do a little of both?
no,
That won't work.
no.
Even if you keep trying, you'll see you can't serve two masters who are diametrically opposed in their advice at every friggin' level.
Mm-hmm.
You'll blow your head off trying to do that. So you may tiptoe into it and it takes you years to figure out, right? Seasoned people. You were trying to hold on a little to this one and a little to that one. And I'm still trying to do it a little bit. How about you? I'm a work in progress, right?
Oh, yeah.
But that's what this is all about. Dee, you liked on page 7 in the text where Jesus says, there's nothing about me that you cannot attain. The only difference between us both is that you have God and something else, and I only have one thing.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite.
If I can get you to get rid of all the other stuff, you'll be exactly like me. Do you see how we're getting rid of stuff? Not trying to create something? You with me?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's an unlearning.
Yeah. Well, I'm
Well-
saying it's almost 8 o'clock. What do you think?
Okay. Well,
I love it.
what I'm hearing what you're talking about is that core essence that is within all of us that For me, the observer is my true self, observing myself, making decisions and allowing me to make the decisions because of my free will. And therefore I have the choice. There is
Go ahead.
like I was saying before, there is that part that is so deep within me that sits back and allows me to do what I do, knowing that I'm getting where I'm going.
Let me make sure I offer one insight. Make sure you're with me. You have free will, but it has a limit. It has a fail safe
Right.
in it. Whatever you want that's not within the will of God can appear to happen, because I can't let you go off hurting yourself. That's taking free will too far. So go ahead and imagine whatever you want, but only the things of God are real. And
Right.
so what you'll have is something we call an illusion.
Right.
I'm not saying illusions are bad either. It's what you do with them. Lesson 2, I have given everything I see all meaning. I'm the one that activates what is the word? It's like something like a stem cell. It's there, but it's formless, awaiting use. You know what I mean? Stem cells in the body. If you put them into the heart, they'll turn into heart cells. If you put them in your foot, their power awaiting their unleashment.
Activation.
I have to look. It means it has potential. It's just power potential. And then you choose. It's like the electrical outlet in your house. It's always there, but you have to plug in to get the appliance, the form of it. Am I doing?
Well, to be honest with Lee, I think you're for me and for my brain, you're making this way too complicated.
Okay. Well, re-say it simply.
I can't. It's something that I know and I feel within me, and I can't, because I can't say what it is, but I know what it is.
So you're saying we're in agreement?
Yeah, I agree with you, but you're
That's good enough for me.
you've got my head.
No, I'm lazy. I
Yeah.
don't want to do. Hey, listen, I thank you for your time tonight. I hope you got some value out of it.
Definitely.
It's over already?
Yeah, we're just doing an hour, okay?
Yeah.
I'm seeing smiles though.
Yeah.
And again, we're small. If you got friends, we're trying to grow ACIM Talks, but only if people have a good time when they come, all right?
Yeah, I absolutely love this hour that we talk about whatever we talk about. It just it's like food for thought,
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, listen, if there's nothing else, I wish you a good week coming up, and I will see you all next time. Bring some
Thank you.
friends. Tell your cat to bring some of her friends too, okay, Joe? Peace
It was
and love,
great.
everybody.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Namaste.
Namaste.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Namaste.